guys, Chris Cox here for another Kiss guitar lesson. Today we're going to go back to the Creatures of the Night album. I get requests for lessons from this album all the time. Z, I finally came through for you, buddy. We're going to do Keep Me Coming today. So, Creatures, this is one of the, more mysterious Kiss records as far as who played the guitar parts on all the songs. So, I know for sure that Steve Ferris, the guitar player for Mr. Mister, played the Creatures of the Night solos. I'm sure Paul Stanley probably took care of most of the rhythm guitars on his parts. I'm not sure about Gene's songs. Bob Kulick was brought in for some session work for the album, but I don't think any of his parts made it to the record from what I could find out, research-wise. Robben Ford, blues jazz guitar player, he played all the solos on I Still Love You. But Vinnie Vincent did play the lead guitar parts on Keep Me Coming. And, if you followed Vinnie, especially, Kiss fans, his style, his phrasing, his attack, his use of the whammy bar and everything, it was pretty easy to tell that it was Vinnie. But I did research it just to make sure. I was 98% sure that Vinnie played on it. But the rest of the record, it's kind of hard to say it at different times. But as far as tuning goes, this one's in standard. I know usually Kiss is in E flat, but for most of their songs, but standard tuning for this one if you want to play along with the lesson or the record. So let's get started. Keep Me Coming, Creatures of the Night. Okay, let's go over the introduction lick. So first we'll talk about the notes. And then we'll get more into the technique. The first thing that you're going to do, actually the song opens with you're hitting the open E string and then diving. And then you go into the riff. So you hit the open E, and then you're going to come and play the E note on the 7th fret of the A. It says, you come back to the open E again. This time we're going to move 2 frets down to the 5th fret of the A. That's what we have so far. Then you're going to hit an open A. And then we'll do this little walk down pattern. So it's going to be so you hit the open A, play the 2nd fret of the A string, and then you're going to pull off to an open A. And then you're going to pick an open A again, and you're going to play. And that's going to be the same thing as here, except we're going to do that pull off from the 4th fret of the A string. And then you're going to get to the 5th fret and do the same thing. Now, as far as technique goes, if we play that lick or that riff just straight without the little pinch harmonic kind of squawk in there, and what I mean by that is you're angling your pick to where, I don't know if you guys can kind of see that, but you're just letting a little bit of the plastic show, and you're actually, after you strike the note, you're letting the flesh of your thumb hit the note, so you get a, otherwise it's, hear the difference? Now, adds a little more personality to that riff. So when you're doing this, you're going to have to make sure that, when you hit the, for the 2nd fret of the A string, you're going to have to be on a down strum. And then you're going to come up and pick the open A again, down strum here on the 4th fret and pull off the open, then pick up again, and then So play it really slowly again. It's a little bit of a tricky lick. Back to the open E. So if you notice, each time I play the second, second, fourth, and fifth fret of the A string, I'm on a down strum. Okay. Okay, so that's the introduction riff of the song. It's also a good part of the verse. So we're going through. Now we're getting into the verse, or excuse me, not the verse, the pre-chorus. So this will be the tail end of the verse into the pre-chorus. So when we play this, we're playing that same riff. But we're not going to do the walk down, we're just going to and then come back to the open E. So D5, which is going to be 5th fret of the A, 7th fret of the D, and then C5, which is going to be 3rd fret of the A, 5th fret of the D. So just one down strum each there, and then you're doing and that's just going to be a muted low E string, so it's just, and then we're going to do and that's going to be a slide from the D5 to the E5, which is going to be 7th fret of the A, 9th fret of the D, so you slide into that, and then come back to the D5, and then stop it, and then you're going to slide from C to D, back to C. And then we go into the chorus. And that's, you're just going to hit the A5, and then we're into the chorus. So pretty easy chorus there, and we're working with familiar chords we've already learned. So it starts at the D5. So again, 5th fret of the A, 7th fret of the D. You're just doing an open E. But when you do that, you hit that, and then you stop that low E before you play 2 down strums on the D chord. So and you're letting that ring just. So let that D ring, so you don't do want to do it staccato like that. You want to play it again, slide into the E5, and then you're going to come here to the 3rd fret of the low E and play. And that's just going to be 3rd fret, open E, and then back to the same thing we just played. So. So the second verse is slightly different, but very much the same at the same time. So we've got that riff again. We have this bridge part. So everything's the same except that little part that we add there. So you play the second verse the same, and then you, right before the guitar solo, this little, as I would consider this the bridge. So we're doing this little riff, and I do a hybrid picking technique, and I'm kind of cheating a little bit on this riff. So I'm going to show you my cheat. And then I'll show you how, I actually watched Paul and Tommy Thayer kind of play it a little bit on the Kiss cruise. And see how they're playing this riff, and I think this is how I think it's easier to play this way, and I think it sounds just as good. So it's just so we're basically playing these little perfect fourth intervals. on the D and G string. So the first one's going to be on the 7th fret. So you're going to go, I'm going to, pluck the D string with the pick, and I'm going to pluck the G string with my middle finger. So we're going to slide from the 7th to the 6th. So, and then I'm going to play the 4th, and then I'm going to come back to the 6th fret and kind of pull off and go. So, and I'm just going to reach down here with my pinky and grab the E note of the 7th fret. So it's, to me, it just feels like I can play it a little tighter. Now you could pick that. You could do, but again, it's just a technique that I like to use, especially when I want to tighten up some rhythm. It kind of sounds tighter that way. But you could also play it, and I think this is how Paul was playing it, that he goes, so he does that full stretch all the way down. So it's the same, idea. You're sliding from 7 to 6, 7 to 6, 4, pull off, 2nd fret to the 4th fret. So you could play it either way you want to, but more. So that's pretty much, from that point on, we've got the rhythm guitar part underneath the solo, which is... come back to that B and play that same riff we just learned in the bridge. And you kind of notice when you come out of that, you're just slightly behind the beat when you grab that B5, which is 2nd fret of the A, 4th fret of the D. So you're just slightly behind the beat on there. So that takes a little bit of getting used to just getting that groove with that little riff. And then right before you go into the last chorus and you chorus out, it goes. And you're doing that same thing. You're just the same riff. The only thing that's different is we're just coming back and striking that A5 again to resolve it. So before we're going, this time, so play this, repeat it, and then resolve there, and then you're back into the chorus. Let's go over the guitar solo. So the very first part of the solo is a little bit of a melody line. It's a harmony melody. The natural note's going to be here at the E note on the 9th fret of the G. So you're just hitting this note, and then you're rocking your whammy bar back and forth gently. And then the last time, you dive it all the way down. The harmony note's going to be the B note here on the 12th fret of the B string. So it's then you dive that down. So when you're playing this, you don't want to be, too aggressive with your tremolo arm, because you'll get, if you dive too far, it's going to sound like, and you're going to be like, no, that's not it. So just and then just rock it back and forth, okay? So the next part is going to be 14th fret, and I'll play the part next. So, kind of a standard blues lick in E minor. So we're going to be, here's 14th fret of the G, and you're going to, and you're going to just bar your first finger across the 12th fret of the B and high E. So And it's not a big bend here. You could play this with your middle finger, ring finger, whatever feels comfortable. I think it feels kind of more natural for me to kind of, but who knows, I probably on the trailer played it like this and didn't even know. So it's just whatever's more comfortable for you. So you play that little lick twice, and then you're going to do this lick. So this is 15, 14, 12. You're going to do a single pull off on all three notes. So that meaning you're just going to pluck the B one time, and then we're going to come back to here's. You're going to come back and pick those notes. So it's going to be pick on the 15, 14, 12, and back to the 14. So we have this so far. Okay, and then we're going to do a same pull off. You're going to just pluck this G string one time, and you're going to play 15, 14, and 12. And then you're going to play 14 and 12 on the D. So we have this so far. Play that slower. Then we're doing a... So again, that little kind of half bend there on the 14th fret of the G string. You're bending up, stopping the note. But on the last one, you're going to bend it up, let it come back down, and you're going to pull off back to the 12. So you come back to that, pull off to the 12, come back to the 14, to the 12th fret of the B. So it's, and then resolves here, that lick anyway resolves on the 12th fret of the G. We're going to go way down here to the 20th fret and do a so it's the big giant huge almost overbend here on the 20th fret. So and then let it come back down, and then you're going to do this little chromatic from the 19, 18, 17 on the high E. So we come back out of there, so 19, 18, 17. You're going to pull off from the 20 to the 17 to the 19th of the G, back to the 17th of the B, and then to the 20th. So we'll play what we have so far. And then we have that lick, so we're doing a... So there's a little slight bend there on the 19th fret of the G, but these are the notes. So you're... So 19, 17, 20. And then you're going to basically hit these two notes as like a chord on that last part, and then bend up, and then of course grab your whammy bar in this. So let's play what we have so far. And that's going to be the high E, the 19th fret of the high E. So you know, we've talked before in other lessons about how it's so important to use your palm, your other fingers that are not fretting the note, to silence unwanted string noise. So this is a great example of that. So when I grab that, you can get a little bit more technique, a little bit more groove by, you know, just barring your first finger over all the strings that you can, and then you kind of rake the pick. Just gives it a little bit more style to it. So you're raking the pick across everything. Nothing's going to ring but the 19th fret of the high E. But see, that's why I take my first finger up there and lay it across. So that way you can prevent that string noise. So after that part, it goes back into what we learned earlier. And then we have, if I play it, this E minor pentatonic scale. So if we play, this next lick's based on that pattern. So we're doing a So you're going to bend up here at the 12th fret of the G string, and then your first finger is going to just anchor here to 10th fret of the B. So you're doing So once you come out of that, you're kind of basically, after you let this come back down, you're pulling off from the 12th to the 9th. So and you're playing 10, 9, 7 of the G. So you grab. So after you do that, you grab the 9th fret of the D, 9th fret of the G, and then 7th fret of the G. And you're going to bend down before you grab the 7th fret of the D. So you kind of just, and then he hops back over to grab that A note on the D. So, and then we come down here to back to this, what is this, between 17th and 15th fret. You're doing, and so this is going to be a slight bend here on the 7th fret, or 17th fret. So again, that raking kind of, I'm palm muting everything here that I don't want to play here with, with my palm. So I don't want to play anything but just the notes on the B string. So we're doing up. So you can kind of see I'm slightly bending that 17th fret of the B up before I hit it. And then you let it come back down and just play 17, 15. And then it finishes here on the 17th fret of the high E.